Welcome into this edition of Diamond Talk. We visit with the head baseball coach at Southeastern, Zach Crabtree, who just returned long bus ride coach to Searcy, Arkansas in a 3-game series. You won one of the 3 games there. You know, the old saying is you want to kind of split on the road. I don't know what you do when there's a 3-game series, but you want to win at least 1 game on the road and try to win 2 out of 3 or sweep at home. Is that kind of the thinking?
For sure. I mean, you want to try to win every series, but you definitely can't get swept. And you know, we got out of there with 1, and I thought we played pretty good all 3 games. Game 1 kind of got away late. Potter had another, quality start for us, and we just gave up some extra runs late, kind of put us out, I think, in the 8th inning. I think they tacked on a couple runs at what was a close game for then. And then, we went with a different starter in Game 2. We went with Teskey, and, he'd struggled most of the year, and he was really, really good.
Yeah, he's kind of been up and down.
Yeah. And he
was trying to figure out how to get him right.
Yeah, and so he was really good. And then Game 3, it was a good game. It was 1-1, and after 1, and then we gave up a home run, I think, in the 4th or 5th inning, and we ended up getting beat 3-1, but they had 4 hits and we had 3. It was just all 3 games are good college baseball games, and we just got to find a way to win. We're just coming up a little bit short, but we played really good defense, and our starting pitching was pretty good all 3 games, and we just got to get some more timely hitting with guys in scoring position. That seemed to be kind of the issue this year, this year as well, but for this weekend, definitely.
It's kind of old school baseball, a lot of pitching and defense and low. You predicted that it would be that way.
Yeah, and Harding, like I told you, they don't make a whole lot of mistakes, right. and they pitch it, and they did. They went right at us, and you look at challenges and look at the stats, and it was pretty evenly all weekend, and they just got a couple more timely hits than we got, and but I was disappointed. You're disappointed anytime you don't win a series, but I was pleased with the way our guys fought and played hard, and we played pretty clean for the weekend. We walked a couple more guys than we'd like, but for the most part, we played really well and just came up short.
I think that's one of the challenges in sports of all varieties and all levels of sports. Everybody wants to win. I mean, everybody, it's like they're not giving 100%. Well, everybody tries.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you try a fraction more or something. I think most of the time it's just, you make better decisions and don't make the mistakes. But the team that loses is trying as hard as the team that wins 99.9% of the time. And you have to somehow, in regular life, you don't have to deal with this as much, but in athletic life, you have to deal with handling losses. How do you do that? Especially in baseball, where being successful is hitting 300 is 30% of the time.
I tell people all the time, baseball's a game of failure.
Yeah,
you succeed 3 out of 10 times, and you're one of the best there is.
But you have to have a certain psychology to be able to handle that.
You've got to be able to handle that, and
it's kind of like rejection. Human beings, we don't like rejection.
No, for sure. And it's kind of like I told our guys, and I tell them this all the time. I said, hey, most baseball games and really most sports activities or contests are lost more than they're won. Somebody does something to lose the game rather than really something to win. And I said, but sometimes when both teams just go at it and you play clean and you do stuff, there's 1 base hit with runners at 2nd and 3rd compared to ground out to 3rd base. It may be the difference in the game, and so what I told our guys, you go out and play as hard as you can, and you play as clean as you can and do what you can, and you have to take what happens at that point, because you have no regrets. If you did everything you possibly could, other than maybe getting a base hit, and sometimes a base hit, you could hit a ball right on the nose and it'd be a line drive.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Sometimes that 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs is a line drive that a guy makes a great play on, and it's like, what do you do?
And then sometimes it's a hard bouncer that takes a high hop, bounces over the first baseman's head.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I told our guys. Let's take the positive. I felt like we played pretty clean and played well all 3 games, and we came up short 2 out of the 3. And let's build off what we did good, and we just got to execute a little bit better. And with runners in scoring position, and then we got to kind of limit some of our walks. I think.
Well, you got pretty good relief pitching in that middle game in the extra inning. Who was it, McGrew, that went like 3 or 4 innings?
McGrew was really good, but he has kind of struggled as well since early in the year. And so we had some positives. Casey Bryan was really good, too, in relief in the third game when he came in for, goodness gracious, for Davis Jinks.
Yeah.
So we got some really good quality pitching out of the bullpen, which we'd kind of been struggling at. So hopefully that's a good turn. Teskey had a great outing. McGrew came in and was really good, and then also Casey Bryan came in game 3 and was really good. And so we kind of thought those guys would be good early, and they kind of struggled. So hopefully they're figuring it out, and moving forward we can rely on those guys a lot more and get what we thought we were going to get out of them.
We're visiting with Zach Crabtree, head baseball coach at Southeastern, here on Diamond Talk. You mentioned earlier, you struggled in the series on, getting that timely hit, the 2-out hit. What do you do when your team is struggling a little bit with the hitting like that? I mean, all teams kind of go through ups and downs when it comes to that kind of stuff. What do you do as a coach?
We just kind of try to simplify things and, go up with an approach looking for, if you want to sit on a fastball early or, like set on something, and if it's not that pitch, don't swing at it, whether it's a strike or a ball. If you're looking for a fastball, just look for a fastball and hit it. And we'll just kind of get back and practice today and kind of try to simplify things. I mean, like we said, you fail 7 out of 10 times, and baseball is such a confident sport. You got to have your confidence, and you got to be mentally tough. And so this time of year, we just try to build up our confidence and work on some mental stuff. And, we know what we're supposed to do. Sometimes we don't execute. Sometimes it's because the other pitcher, they use their closer through 3 innings on, I think it was Friday night, maybe 4 innings. He's pitched in 11 outings this year and has yet to give up a run.
Wow.
And he came in and threw the last 2 innings of game 3. And so, he was pretty good, and he has something to do with it. But, we just got to keep fighting and keep grinding and trying to, figure out and keep working on things, whether it's in the cage or if it's on the field in live BP or in situational practice. Just kind of keep doing what we've been doing and hopefully get our confidence up and also hopefully have the right guy at the plate with the guys in scoring position.
Right, that helps sometimes too. Yeah. Remember what the great Bob Gibson said one time: the batter's always thinking about the last pitch.
Yeah.
If he saw a slider or something, he's thinking about that pitch. So you'd always say you could throw something different. But just the psychological part of batting. I mean, you can, I know what you mean by simplifying it, because you can start thinking of all kinds of things in your mind, thinking, well, last time up he threw me this sequence and, this, and this, and sometimes that can be a detriment.
Yeah, you can overanalyze everything. It was, what's he going to throw, what I got out on last time, when we try to tell our guys, next pitch, just win this pitch right here that's coming up, and it's easier said than done.
Yeah, it is. But it looks easy when they hit a line drive in the gap or a home run over there. That wasn't hard, but no, it's not.
But just buying in, and that's part of some mental toughness and some mental training is letting go what happened. It's kind of like when you have a bad at bat, and a lot of times guys will take it out to the field, and what happens? They hit a ball right at you, and you're worried about your last at bat, and you kick it or throw it away or whatever. So just being mentally tough enough to let what happened go, because you can't change it. It's happened already, and be prepared for the next pitch.
And the other thing is, when you get a little bit older, you're a lot more capable of doing that than you are when you're 21 years old.
For sure.
You got all kinds of crazy things going through your mind. You're full of hormones and everything else. You want to just, go out there and tear the head off of things.
Or like when you're 18 years old, like Hurd playing shortstop every inning, and
you want to be the hero.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just kind of part of it. Baseball is a funny game. I know that we're 3 times during the series we had bases loaded and less than 2 outs, and we didn't score a run those 3. And 3 tight games, 1 base hit or 1 double in the gap that clears the bases is a big difference, And so it's kind of like baseball. With some of those balls, we hit a couple balls really hard in those situations, but it was right at people and it didn't drop, and you just kind of.
The funniest part about baseball is, you remember those, and it's like, wow, man, I hit that as hard as I can. But then when you get the little blooper that drops in, you tend to forget kind of and go, man, that was a great hit.
Yeah,
that's how the mind works.
Looks like a line drive of the buck,
But you think, yeah, I came through in that situation.
For sure.
But you've got a pretty busy week. You got a game scheduled, a non-conference game on Tuesday at Northeastern. What is that, a single game at 2?
Single game, yeah. We got a 9-inning game, and they've been playing pretty well. They've I think they're 500 in conference, and I think maybe 500 overall.
We saw them at home.
We saw them here early and took 3 out of 4 from them, but they've been playing really well, and they're kind of like us. They don't score a whole lot of runs, but their pitching's been pretty good since they left here, and they've been finding ways to win some games, and so it'll be a good midweek contest.
Your schedule's kind of front-loaded with some of the best teams in the conference. You got Monticello coming in for the weekend series, and I think next week after that you go to Southern Arkansas, who's always a power in the conference. So you're playing the top teams here early in the conference schedule. So what do we know about Monticello?
Well, they're picked really high preseason. They haven't had the start that I think they expected, or most of us expected. And matter of fact, they went out to Alva, and Southeastern alum and former assistant coach Ryan Bowen, head coach out there, swept Monticello this weekend, and so as big series for Northwestern, and
so they're going back to back on the road.
They're going back to back, and so Monticello is they're not quite as physical as they were last year. Their lineup was really long. When you mean that, it means 1 through 9 was really good hitters, and you could never take a breath. Big, strong guys that could run it out of the park at any time, and it's not quite as long as it was. And then, they've had a couple injuries. They lost their Friday night guy, hadn't pitched the last 2 weekends, and they don't know if he's going to be back or not. And so, so they haven't had the year that they expected or was predicted. And so, but they're still a very good team. They opened up with Harding and 1-3, swept them, and and Harding's a really good team, and so we'll have to go play. But if we get the bullpen pitching and from those guys that pitched well this past weekend, and we get going, Buckner had his first below average weekend. He's been unconscious all year, hitting close to 500, through 5 weeks of the season, and so we
Are the team starting to pitch around him, not giving him too much to hit?
They went at him this weekend, and he just what's baseball. Sooner or later, your averages are going to average out, and so and we played the whole weekend without Nico, who was really hot. He got hurt last week against Arkansas Tech, so hopefully we'll get some good news today or tomorrow on him. And so, I don't know, it ought to be a good series. We need to go out and try to find a way to win the series for sure, especially being a home series, and in conference. And we're doing just enough to hang on right now, so hopefully we can get a run. But we got to get, like I told our guys, sooner or later, when you're down there, you got to start digging your way out. You can't just stay, you can't stay where you're at. And so hopefully that'll start this week, and we can build off this past weekend's road trip.
Well, you just experienced the shortest drive ever from Searcy to Durant because of daylight savings time. I mean, it was long for you, but the clock moved while you were driving back. So it's actually the longest trip, wasn't it? It was longer because when you got back, it was an hour later than it was supposed to be. So you get to play at home. That's a big benefit for you playing at home.
For sure. We look forward to it.
And you get daylight savings time, so there's an extra. What time's the first game Friday?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, 9-inning game, the doubleheader
at 1 on Saturday.
So you get that extra light.
Joseph Sir is supposed to be back in town this weekend, and so we'll find out hopefully today if he's going to make it for Friday's game or not. If not, Saturday, have him throw out the first pitch, and it'll be exciting times for our guys, and then also just for the whole community that prayed for Joseph all last year, and for our university. And
he's a great symbol of sticking to it and faith and working hard to recover.
Yeah, for sure. So it'd be great. Look forward to he was back in December because he walked the stage to graduate, but excited to have him and his family back in town, and we look forward to seeing him, and maybe he can talk to our guys a little bit and give us a
Fiery speech.
speech and get us going. And so it'll be a great weekend.
I think Joseph has designs on maybe coaching someday.
Yes, sir.
So maybe he can get a little practice
For sure, man.
before the game. Well, thank you, Zach. That's Zach Crabtree, head baseball coach, and that's this edition of Diamond Talk. We'll see you next week.